education, leadership, and beyond, surviving and thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and welcome to our live viewing audience. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, Voice Ed Radio Canada, wherever you are taking in your podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Maybe you're on a long walk somewhere. Maybe you're on a long drive somewhere. Maybe you're on the road to awesome. I don't know where you are when you take it in the podcast, but thank you very much. Jump in the comments section and leave us a comment, and certainly say hello to today's guests. We are going to meet Dr. Darrin Peppard and Katie Kinder, co-authors of, I just buried it here, Culture First Classrooms. This book just came out this spring in March. It's fantastic. There's a ton of stuff in here. So we are going to dive in and chat with the authors and get to know a little bit about the book. So before that, a quick word from IXL. As you're wrapping up school, you need that data. You need to see the growth of the kids. Well, IXL does a fantastic job tracking that data, pushing the kids, as well as giving them on-demand feedback. So a quick word from IXL.
I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your ed tech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast.
All right, let's get to it. We are going to meet the authors here, Culture First Classroom. And, my opening topic here, my opening segment is about accountability. And the last podcast, it was a little over a week ago, was Charles Williams from Illinois. And here he is in the book. And I read Charles's excerpt entitled Accountability is Love. And when we use the word accountability in schools, talking about, culture, people say that's a bad word. They feel like it's a bad word, right? But it's not. And Charles wrote a great excerpt, Accountability is Love. And he shares a great story about enforcing a rule at school, and he had to be firm about the rule, and just back and forth about it. But he says here, the alignment is crucial because traditions serve as the framework within which a school operates. They influence everything from daily routines to overarching spirit of the institution, and so on and so on. Another cornerstone of the culture within schools that I lead is the principle of accountability is love. And he goes on to talk about that. So when we think about accountability, students, staff, parents holding each other accountable professionally, it is part of our culture, and it is a good thing. So thank you to Charles for that excerpt. And let's meet our authors. They've been on hold here, and let's welcome them to the stage. Darrin and Katie, welcome.
Hi, friend. Oh, my goodness. Andrew, I just have to tell you that when you talk about Charles Williams, you also have to call him the velvet voice of education.
Velvet voice.
Oh, okay.
And so that has been catching on now for some years. Darrin knows. Darrin.
Oh yeah, he is the velvet voice of
And
education.
now when we go to Innovative School Summits, people just yell out "Velvet," and he turns around. I'm telling you, velvet voice. No.
Yeah.
Well, he might be the velvet voice, but you're the teal glasses lady.
That's true. That is true. Come and see me and get some fake glasses. And that actually happened because of Dr. Darrin. You asked him before we came on. You said, is it Peppard or Peppard? And I kind of like that. You sound French. Okay. So we met for drinks in 2023. It was me, you, Integrate Ed girls, a bunch of people.
Velvet was a part of that.
Velvet was there. And he said you should really lean into this teal glasses thing. Like, you could throw out fake ones, and you can, make business cards in the shape of teal glasses. And I was like, okay, Dr. Darrin Peppard. And and so I did. And so I take these fake glasses everywhere, and I throw them out, and people take selfies with them. And sometimes they don't even there they are. Sometimes they don't even remember my
You got to
name.
get a pair of these, Andrew. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I will send
yes.
Andrew. I'll send you
Very
some.
special look.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but are those are cute. Those are cute.
I know.
And
They look good.
I'll send you some in the mail, I promise.
I
And
would
so,
love that.
yeah, I have people come into my sessions, like, they don't even know if I'm good or not. They're like, where's the glasses at? And they want the fake ones, and they take selfies, and they can win a book, and it's become a whole thing. Like, they'll forget my name, but they remember that I'm that teal glasses lady. And that's one of the reasons, we collaborate, because we know we're better together. That's why the book is what it is today.
I love it. Well, welcome, Katie. Darrin, hopefully you'll be able to get a word in. I don't know, but Darrin, how about a chance to say hello here?
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good. No, you know what? Hey, thanks for having us. First off,
Yes.
Andrew. I mean, this is awesome. It's great to reconnect with you. Anytime I get an opportunity to spend time with Katie, obviously I'm going to be thrilled with that. Yeah, the teal glasses story is one of my favorite stories. And I know we're going to talk about the book in a little bit, but that was kind of like where it all started when ultimately we ended up putting this book together. So, yeah, and I'll definitely get a word in here and there.
Yeah.
I'll let him talk.
Well, this
Yeah.
is Darrin Peppard, friend, and on the road to awesome, publisher, author, speaker, doing great work. And again, Katie Kinder, leader in education and speaker. Well, let's get to it. You all got together, and sure, we throw around ideas, but this idea became a reality. Darrin, why don't we start with you? How did the idea,
Sure.
how did the conversation turn into a reality here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the story justice and tell it as short as I possibly can. But in the summer of 2023, Katie and I were both at the Innovative Schools Conference. This is the first time we met in person. I went to one of her sessions. She went to one of my sessions. Katie, during the session, like jumps up on the chair and starts doing this thing, right? And I'm like, wow, that's a me move. I do that too. I get on the chair. Like, one of the best pictures of me ever taken was me up on a chair. Like, I got the hook 'em horns thing going on, which I don't even know what I was doing at that time. But man, there's some synergy here, right? Fast forward a little bit later on, I got asked to teach a collegiate course about classroom management. So I'm an adjunct professor at Fort Hays State University in Hays, Kansas. And I'm teaching this advanced classroom management course. And I ask my students at the beginning of every semester, the summer semester kicks off on Monday, I'll ask the same question. What do you think of when you think of classroom management? And Andrew, I hear the same thing all the time. It's, how do I get kids to behave? How do I get them to do what I want them to? How do I respond when they misbehave? I mean, that's what most people think of with classroom management. That's not who I am. And that's not who Katie is either, by the way. And, when in Road to Awesome, I talk about this a lot too, about that, just the importance of building culture. So Katie and I were recording a podcast together, and during the podcast, one of us said, hey, we should do a book. And the other one said, yeah, we should do a book. And by the end of this podcast, we're doing a book. And it's going to be our take on classroom management. And we started talking about, hey, you know what? We're in all these schools. We see all these amazing, educators. Let's get them involved. Let's ask people who we were in their classrooms, we're in their schools, we're in their districts, we've worked with them. Let's get their take. Let's not just make this Darrin and Katie say you should do this, right? So we had 24 people write these amazing excerpts. You mentioned Charles Williams as one of them. And then it kind of went dormant for a little bit. Katie was busy on the road. I was busy on the road. And, we finally came back to it and said, hey, let's make this thing happen. And, Andrew, what came of it was just these amazing contributions. We didn't tell anybody. We didn't reach out and say, hey, Charles, write about accountability. The same thing we said to Charles, we said to everybody, hey, we want to do this book on classroom management, give us what you've got. Just talk to us about how you're building culture in your classroom or in your building or in your district. And man, it came together. There are 7 really strong themes that these amazing educators contributed to, and then Katie and I just we filled in the pieces around, and I think it's awesome. And to me, it's about putting that culture first in our classroom. That's what classroom management is. It's building the culture in your classroom where kids feel seen, heard, valued, and trusted. So, like I said, I do it as fast as I could. That's as fast as I can tell that story.
Yeah. Well, here it is, friends. Again, it's on Amazon. It's out there. It's on both their websites. Have you read it on Audible yet, Katie, the two of you?
I think we should. We definitely should do that. I reread it a couple of days ago, prepping for this podcast, because we have done a couple of other podcasts, and Darrin brought up a story about that I had forgotten was in there, and I went through and reread all of it, and that was my thought, like, we should take turns, because when I'm writing, my glasses are up, and when he's writing, his truck is up, and so we have these icons that show who's talking, and it would be really cool if we could actually, there's the truck, think of it as being orange, there's the glasses, think of those as being teal, and I think it would be really cool to have our voices and to really bring those to life.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I love that.
That's the next. Maybe that's the next thing.
Well, let's talk off air. I'll connect you with the person who's helped me, and I've read mine, and it is very fulfilling with that work. But Katie, another aspect, again, the book, Darrin talked about it a little bit. I mean, you have the people's pictures, right? They wrote an excerpt, but y'all wrote great introductions on how you know the people. But then you also gave some perspective on their stories. Talk to me about those perspectives, Katie, on your co-authors' excerpts here.
Sure. Well, I think Darrin and I, we stand on stages, and you do too, all over the nation. And we tell our own story, and we hype up educators, and we love the baby teachers, and we do all of the things. But this was really a way to people's classes that we've been in, people who we have taught with, people who would never get on Twitter/X, Instagram, TikTok and say, look at this cool lesson. We got to highlight them, and because they're busy teaching and they're busy being leaders in their own building. And so we got to highlight them and then also take their practices and get it out to the masses. And I really think that is really special. And these are personal friends. They are people that we see, people that we know. We didn't just put out, I think Darrin says this, we didn't just put out a Google form that's like, hey, you want to write a chapter? No, like we found the people that have created this. And I've said it, I'm gonna say it again, lightning in a bottle in their classrooms. And so I love the baby teachers. Baby teachers are in their first 5 years, and we're losing them at a rapid rate. And so I could say, you need to, here's this book, and you can take, this strategy from this person and this strategy from this person, and you can make it your own. And that's why I think it's really special.
Yeah. Shout out to Todd Bloomer watching from newly San Antonio. Let's go Knicks, Todd. Katie, what was a challenge, Katie, in the book you're co-authoring? What was a challenge for you?
Well, I think Darrin will say the same thing. Sometimes we just couldn't get on the same, literal page and also figurative page, in that, and I didn't want him, it's his publishing company, and I kind of felt like I didn't want to let him down. And I think he kind of felt the same way about me. And I think his wife, who's a boss, who we love, she's our editor and our boss, and she at the very end was like, I feel like you guys are in the same school, but you're in different halls, and you guys have got to do some things to this. And thank goodness Jess did that for us, because it really made it all come together. So we were kind of writing separately, and then we would get on a Zoom, and I'd be like, we have 20 minutes, and he's like, we got 10. I'm like, okay. And because he's in an airport, I'm in the car. So I think that was a challenge. And then he would ask me, like, what do you want here? And I'm like, I want what you want to put there. And So that made it challenging. And I'd never, this was my first experience having a true co-author. So
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Darrin, how about you? What is something you learned by working together with Katie?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, that's a great question. One, everything Katie just said. I mean, the struggle was real for us to get on the same page, and not because we view things differently. We don't. We are so like in alignment with how we think about this particular topic and about education in general. But trying to get our schedules to mesh up was really complicated. And yes, Katie brought it up, so I'll go ahead and go there. Katie just saying, "Yeah, I want what you want," was a struggle for me. I wanted you to just say, "No, this is what I needed Katie Kinder to have a few of those I'm jumping up on the chair moments. This is going to be how this is going to be done." And she got there on a few of those things, which was really cool. But I think here's the other thing about this. You ask, what did I learn? I learned, and this is maybe my favorite part about doing this book. I learned just how gratifying it is to put the spotlight on somebody else. Again, I mean, Katie's right. All three of us, we stand on stages all the time. The spotlight is on us. I mean, heck, I was a principal superintendent. I am used to that very bright spotlight. It is amazing to see these 24 people, these 24 amazing educators hold up their copy of the book, smiling and especially, I mean, there are a few, Charles is an example. Chris Culver is watching. Shout out to Dr. Chris Culver. Those are guys who do get the spotlight, right? But Lori Boudreau, for example, a high school English teacher from right here in Omaha, Nebraska, Tanya Fallum, a special education teacher and counselor in Rock Springs, Wyoming, they're not getting that spotlight. And so to see them and all the rest of them just really get highlighted and praised for the work that they do. And honestly, they wrote amazing things. I mean, whew, that probably was the least amount of editing that happened in the book, was the stuff that the contributors wrote. That I think that's my biggest thing. I just, that hit me not long ago. Katie and I were talking about this, and it really, really hit me that just how special it is to be able to invite them up on stage and give them their moment. And for us to just step back and let it be them was very, very special.
Yeah. Another one of your co-authors, David James from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Culver. So many different perspectives from around the country. And the stories, guys, were really just fantastic in here. Darrin, in addition to writing books, again, you also run Road to Awesome. It's a publishing company. You do your speaking out of there. And you get a lot of people submitting books, Darrin.
Yeah.
What are the winners for all those educators out there that want to write a book, right? Chris Culver is going to write his own book. David James is going to write his own book. What makes a book desirable by educators? What are you looking for as a book publisher?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And I think there's a couple of things. Number one, and I think this is what keeps a lot of people from taking that step and saying, hey, I want to write a book. Actually going from, hey, I want to I am writing a book, is this fear that I don't have anything unique to say or anything special to say or something that people will look at differently. Here's the reality, and this is kind of what we're looking for too. Everybody has something unique to say. Everybody has something that is their own perspective from what they do, from how they've done it, from what they've experienced. And so, number one, I am looking for that unique perspective on something. People might say, well, I don't want to do a book. I mean, my thing is culture, and there's a million books out there on culture. Yeah, there are. And the really good culture books have a unique take on culture. And their stories, you brought it up. Stories sell. stories are what matter. All three of us stand on stages. Chris Culver stands on stages. Velvet stands on stages. And yes, we have. That's right. You're going to start calling him Velvet, and it's going to stick, Andrew. I'm telling you.
It's going to be amazing.
100%. You'll remember certain, pieces about leadership or about, teaching and learning or whatever the content is that the person's presenting. The stories are what get you. The stories are what hit your heart. The stories are what make things stick. And so one of the biggest things I'm looking for, and one of the things I think that separates those who we say, yeah, that's an RTA book, and no, unfortunately, that's probably not an RTA book, is can you do three things with your book? Number one, can you make me think? So that's your unique take, right? Number two, can you touch my heartstrings? Can you really bring that emotion? And you can only do that through story. And then number three, can you make me go do something differently because I read this book? Am I going to do something to change my practice as a result of reading this book? And man, when those three things are there, whew, man, that's when you got to hit. I mean, he's right there in the chat box, and I'll use him as an example. Todd Bloomer's book, The Blueprint, Todd hits it on all three of those. And that's why his book's a success.
I saw it. Just got 500 copies out there. Congratulations.
Yeah, he's crushing. The guy's
Todd.
Crushing. Yeah.
Darrin, you said FEAR, right? And it's an acronym. And it's false evidence appearing real, right? We think that we can't do this.
I like that.
But that fear is actually something that it's part of it, but definitely put yourself out there. And speaking of stories, Katie, one of the stories that jumped out to me was called The Two Superintendents. It's one of your excerpts in there, page 17. Tell me a little bit about that story and how did those two very different experiences make you feel?
Sure. I think it's called A Tale of Two. And I previously wrote another book called Hallway Leadership. And that's kind of what we're looking for, right? In leaders. We want leaders who are serving. We want leaders who will roll up their sleeves and step into a classroom. And that's really what I saw with A Tale of Two. I saw one who was a figurehead, was not in classrooms, and these districts were of similar sizes. And so it's not like one was a tiny one and one was a giant one, like they were similar sizes. And one, he had to reschedule our meeting to be in a third grade classroom because he was filling in the third grade classroom that was known to be tough and subs wouldn't come to it. And he had his khakis on and they were all wrinkled and he's reading Charlotte's Web. And I just remember feeling a lot of hope when I left that because he knew what his teachers needed for PD because he was in the buildings. He had his sleeves were rolled up. He was in the trenches with them and they trusted him because of his actions, not because of his words that he sent out in his weekly email that said, I love you, we're better together. No, because he would go and he would clean up the spills in the cafeteria. He would go and he would serve the people. He would relentlessly serve the people. And so, A Tale of Two. One left me feeling hopeless and one left me feeling really hopeful. And that's a good story. I like it.
Well written story, page 17 here. Culture First Classrooms, co-written by Darrin and Katie. The cover, Darrin, I remember when you put it out on social media, taking opinions. Katie, are you responsible for the teal here? Is that your?
Yes, it's the teal and the orange. That's us meshing our two styles.
Awesome here. Again, the co-authors here. Katie, summer's coming here. You're going to, again, speak at a lot of different places this summer. How do you continue to motivate yourself? How do you, block the tired or stop the tired and travel and speak and be energizing and jump on chairs like Darrin said? How do you stay motivated?
It's really the people, like the teacher. So I'll be at Nuts and Bolts next week, and it is called the Never Boring Conference. And we get to dress up in like we're all camp counselors, and there's beach balls, and these teachers are fired up to be there. And it's really being around them. It's getting my cup is still, I'm still learning. I think we always have to be leery of the teacher who thinks they got it all figured out, because none of us do, right? And so I love to just be in community with those teachers and with the people and with the educators and give them ideas and learn from them. And that's really how, when I'm stuck at a airport at 2:00 in the morning and they've canceled my flight and I can't find even a Motel 6 to sleep in, that's what keeps me going, because I know those teachers need each other and they need us to lift them up. And that's exactly what we do.
100% there. Darrin, how about you? I know you're about to start the summer tour. There'll be a lot of engagements there. How do you continue to keep your message fresh, Darrin? And maybe you're not saying the same thing at one school, you are in a different place. How do you change that message?
Yeah. So I think number one, it's I'm listening. I'm paying attention to what's happening with everybody that I work with. In addition to the speaking, I mean, I do a lot of leadership coaching. So, I mean, I've got, a bunch of school districts that I work with throughout the course of the year, much like Katie does too. And so I'm with those leaders all the time. And I mean, heck, every single week, when I'm dropping a new blog every single week, it's coming from a conversation that I have had during that week with a leader about something. Just last Friday, as example, I did a blog post on the difference between being task oriented and outcomes oriented as a leader. And that came from actually 2 different conversations with superintendents in completely different states last week. So the number one thing I'm doing is I'm listening and really paying attention. And then number 2, I mean, I'm doing a lot of that research myself and doing a lot of reading and digging into as many of those things as I possibly can, so that it's not just, hey, I wrote this, this keynote speech, or this, I've got this, 2-hour leadership workshop, or this 1-day leadership workshop that I built 4 years ago, and I just keep rolling the same thing out day after day after day. It's different every single time. And it's because every single week I get these incredible opportunities to work with leaders and, building level leaders, district level leaders, classroom level leaders, and just understand from them the challenges they're faced with, the things that are really hitting home for them. I think that's the most important thing. I think if as leaders, if we're not listening, if we're not paying attention, then that's just like Katie said, be leery of the one who thinks they have it all figured out. And the number one way to learn that you don't have it all figured out is just shut your mouth, listen, and hear what are some of the challenges and struggles that people are going through, and then lean in and do everything you can to help them.
Yeah. Well, like you said about the book, then pushing them to action there. But it goes to the stories, Darrin. People are sharing their stories with you, which is relatable
100%.
to your audiences. Yeah. Darrin, if I'm a teacher and I'm going to a summer conference and I'm going to speak, I'm going to do a presentation. Give me 1 or 2 things that you do as a speaker to capture your audience, to bring them in. Now, I need an engagement tip as a speaker in a big audience, 100+ people. What am I doing?
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you 2. Number 1, don't start with, hey, I'm honored to be here and I'm excited. And just no.
Let me tell you about myself.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Let me tell you about myself. No.
Yeah. Hey, let's give a round of applause to the wait staff. No, don't do that stuff. Right. Start with a compelling story. Right. I have 3 different compelling stories that I use at different times to start the process. Right. I have a really hilarious story about my daughter being a following student, and nobody knows what the heck that is, but there's a great story behind it, because then they're leaning in right away. They're like, following student, what the heck is that? Right. You've heard me talk about it. Katie's heard me talk about it. I talk about being a recovering high school principal. What does that really mean? In they come. Right. So that's the number one thing. Do something early to get them to lean in. And then the second one, don't talk at them, talk with them. And I think this is something that speakers struggle with early, and those who get really good are really good at talking with, not talking at. Yeah, you've got great content, you've got great stuff you want to share, but do it in a way. I mean, and you can talk with them even from the big stage as a keynote speaker, right? There are ways to engage them. So, I mean, those I think are two big ones. Um, and I'll throw in a third one just because it's something that has crossed my mind a couple of times. Every now and again, you might be the speaker that is between them and their lunch. Don't go over. Respect their time. Don't
100%.
go over.
Ever.
Yeah. Lunch, and
Yeah.
even worse, if it's in front of happy hour, you better be getting them out of there.
Well, so the time that Katie and I met in Vegas, I was between them and the pool, bar, roulette wheel. I mean, it's like, you better respect their time. Don't
You
go
hear
over, because they'll vote with their feet as soon as it's getting close to it. Especially in Vegas. Man, it's
wheeling in the beer. You hear the bottles clinking together. It's time,
exactly. Yeah.
time to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Friends, jump in the chat, throw a question, introduce yourself. A lot of the authors who contributed here are on the show. Katie, back to you. What's next for you, Katie? Again, it's May here. We're knocking on June. What's next for you?
Well, I have several big contracts. I'm going back to a district that I spent the entire year in, and like I was telling Darrin, I think off air, that I get to do some really cool things. So I'm not the PD person who walks in and is like, you should do this, peace. Like, I will show you how to do that. So I'm at this district that's Tahlequah Public Schools, and I get to go in and I get to teach lessons. I get to do classroom management. Give me your toughest class. Let me teach you how to do a Socratic seminar. I won't just tell you about it. So I get to continue that work next year. And then this summer is like, I don't think I'm home in July. My poor kids. My teenage son will like message me, and I'm in Nashville, and he's like, what's for dinner? I'm like, no. Like, it's ramen and you're making it. And so I'm at different conferences, and then I'm starting to kick off lots of different schools and districts at the end of July, beginning of August. And I love that time because everybody's they're fired up. They're excited to be back. They feel rested, hopefully, and they're ready to try something new. And so that's where I am. And I just love the teachers everywhere.
Got to order those glasses. Get them out there.
Yes, I will. I had Tahlequah Public Schools. They're like my people. They ordered 600 pairs for their convocation. And I got up on stage in front of 600 people, and every single person in the audience is wearing a pair of the fake glasses.
Wow.
And I almost couldn't keep it together. I almost started sobbing because I thought it was so fun. And then when I go get in the hallways and I'm in their schools, they go get their glasses and they put them on and they use them as a prop. And it's really fun. It's such a fun thing that I do, and that they can use as a symbol of doing what's right for kids, for having fun, for having the right culture in your class. So, yeah.
If you Google Katie on Instagram or social media, you'll see those pictures. They are very cool. And my daughter's going to UNC Wilmington on the coast of North Carolina. So the teal is in. So
I'll send you 2 pairs. You need one, and she needs one. She can just walk around that campus. I like that.
Awesome. And Darrin, how about you? Right, we as leaders have to constantly get better. How do you sharpen your saw? How do you continue to write and do those things through the work that you're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, my June is what Katie's July is. I think I'm home 4 days.
Wow.
I will sleep in my own bed 4 times in the month of June, which is crazy. But to be honest with you, a little bit of that time actually is I'm going to a conference for myself. I'm going to a conference about coaching, and it's what I'm super excited about. Actually, one of the schools that I support right here in the Omaha area, their principal asked me if I wanted to go to this conference with him. And so, he's somebody I've been coaching for 3 years now, and we're going to go and actually attend this 2-day conference or 3-day conference rather, in Kansas City on that high performance coaching. And, I think that's something that has got me really excited in the month of June. I mean, I've got a lot of leadership seminars and leadership retreats that I'm doing all through the month of June. But that one has got me really fired up because it's an opportunity to kind of take a step back. And I'm not the one doing leading the learning. I'm the one doing the learning, and I'm pretty fired up about that opportunity because, and you guys both know this, it's different when you go to conferences, when you're a speaker, you attend them differently. And, you even attend keynotes differently. You watch keynotes for what can I learn about how they did it, and that kind of thing. So to have the opportunity to go and be at a conference specific around part of my craft, I'm really excited to have that opportunity to learn and grow.
It's really cool.
Thank you for sharing that, Darrin, right? Sometimes we go, but if you're not sharpening your sword, you're not getting better, you're stagnant. So good for you for doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, and I know you're going to ask Katie about reading, and I don't get the reading question, so I'm just going to chime in with it. I think, we've got to continue to, I mean, I'm an avid podcast listener. We were talking about Audible. I love listening to books on Audible. Right now I'm listening to Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory on Audible. Phenomenal book. It's the more of those kinds of things we do, the more we can stay sharp and be able to pour into others.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, he led in with the question, Katie. All leaders are readers. So what are you reading these days, Katie?
Okay, well, I'm in the middle of Joshua Stamper and Charlie Peck's The Language of Behavior. It's so good. And I have been given that out. Oh, Darren's going to hold it up. Let's real time. Here we go.
He's going to the file.
I just put that out. But then I also, there. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
It's so good. It is so good.
Really good. And really just takes a mind shift. You really have to look at it and be like, okay, can we do this? Can we do the push-in? Can we do this? And so I think it's a great book study to have, in addition to Culture First Classrooms. And then I like me some fantasy, fiction fantasy, Sarah J. Maas. She's good. It's basically Harry Potter for adults. And I like that. I like being next to the pool and reading about magic and fairies and all of I'm not the only one. Okay. Don't look at me like that. And so those are the two things that I'm reading right now.
Yeah. And, as an education leader, we're educators, reading the education books certainly help. But the fiction books, in my mind, they help with your creativity. They help with your imagination. And
Absolutely.
I think it's important. So I admire that, Katie. All right, cool. This one's for both of you. Katie, you could go first. Something that I didn't ask you about that you wanted to share.
Oh, goodness. I think really leaning into not eating our young in this profession. Our vet teachers, our baby teachers have a lot to give. They really do. And vice versa. Young teachers don't teach in a silo. Just because you're asking questions, just because you're asking for help doesn't mean that you're inept. We can't do that. I can't do this without Darrin, without Andrew, without the teacher down the hall that's going to help me connect with the kid the way that I know that I need to. So that's what I would say is that we all bring something really important and that we need to lean into each other's strengths.
Well said there, Katie. Darrin?
I think maybe the thing that I would say, and this is a conversation I've been having with a lot of leaders over the last 2 weeks. I think I've had this conversation 3 times just today. The hay is in the barn, if you will, right? The plane is on the ground. You've ended your school year, unless you're in New York, because New York, they go until, I don't know, July or something for some crazy reason.
June.
But yeah, there you go, right? But anyway, right, you're at that point in time right now. As you are taking the breath, as you're kind of getting yourself back, getting yourself right again, really be thinking about gaining extreme clarity about your expectations, about, what are the 2 or 3 things you want to see in every single classroom, every single day? What are the things you expect of the people around you and what do you expect of yourself? And then spend some time this summer developing your plan of how you can be intentional to stay to that. Be intentional about checking in with yourself at different places along the way, through the course of the year. One of the people I had the conversation with today said something that almost everybody says. Hey, I had this awesome plan, in July and in August, and man, I got to March and I'm like, wow, remember when we were having those regular meetings about, instructional practices in our classrooms and how those just faded after November. We just, we allowed those to get pushed aside. You got to be intentional and make sure that you're putting those plans in place now and develop systems so that they're not going to fail. And that's where I would say too, make sure that you have somebody who can support you from outside of your building, whether that's another administrator in your district, it's somebody like Katie, somebody like me, somebody like Andrew, but you've got to make sure that you got somebody who's going to reach a hand down into the water and pull you up when the water starts to get above your head. Cause it's going to happen every year. You're going to go underwater. So just be really intentional and get really clear this summer. I think those are the things that you didn't ask about that I'd love to really push.
Yeah. Great point, Darrin, and goes back to accountability, right? When you have an accountability partner, you're holding each other accountable professionally, and that's not a bad thing. So great point, Darrin. Well, friends, let's roll. Time is money, and I know you got places to be and things to do. This is rapid fire, but it's going to be alternating. I'll give you one pass. If you want to jump into the question of the other person, you can do that, but it's rapid fire. Darrin, you are up first. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Here we go. Last movie you saw.
We watched Better Off Dead last night with our daughter. She'd never seen it before. So Wayback Machine, and yeah, phenomenal movie.
What a way to end Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Katie, last concert you went to?
From My Couch, Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, Disney Plus.
Are you a Swiftie?
Absolutely.
What percentage of words can you sing to the average Taylor Swift song?
All of them. All of
100%.
them. 95. 95%.
She's so dead serious about this too. I love that.
I'm a Swiftie, but I don't know those words. Darrin, last song you sang out loud in the car.
Just as I was getting home, Soft Cell, Tainted Love happened to come on the radio. I'm stuck in the Wayback Machine, apparently.
Great song. Katie, your favorite dish?
Anything Mexican, chips and salsa. Yes.
Can you cook your favorite dish, or that's restaurant only?
I can do it, but it's not as good.
Okay. All right. Darrin, you travel a lot. Favorite place to travel for leisure?
I'm gonna. Ooh, man, that's a tough one. I got a couple. I'm gonna say my favorite place to travel for leisure is Indian Rocks Beach, just west of Tampa, Florida, right on the Gulf side of Florida. I think one of the best beaches in the world.
Got that white sand.
That's right.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Katie, in 2025, I have fill in the blank.
In 2025, I've lost 30 pounds.
Woo! Wow. Your
Okay.
glasses are going to be falling off
I know
your face.
it was 2024 too, but I want to add it in like a school year. We're going to add it in as a school year.
What's your secret?
Like, don't eat all of the Mexican food. Maybe only eat half. Trying to stay active, trying to swim. And there's a new thing out, and this is the official name. It's called the Skinny Shot. I recommend it.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest about it. Oprah is. Thank you.
30 pounds. Good for you. I started
awesome,
counting
Katie.
calories for the first time in my life. So I'm not 30, but I'm working on it.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Good for you. Darrin, in 2025, I have stopped fill in the blank.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a tough one. What have I stopped doing? Um, all right, I'll go here. And I'm not 100% there, but it's something I'm working really hard on. I have stopped worrying about what other people think.
Mm, that's good.
Got to keep moving forward.
That's right.
You could be a referee. You learn that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Katie, I
remember, I
know
was a
you're
principal, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
Right.
you're only 50% right. Katie, I know you're a superwoman. So what is your superpower?
I'm so nosy. I want invisibility so I can go in and listen to people's stories behind closed doors. That's so creepy. I take it back. I'm going to fly.
fly, fly invisible. Darrin, what's a pet peeve of yours?
people who drive slow in the left lane, just get out of the
Ooh,
way. I mean,
could you
come
please?
on.
And then when
Yeah.
you give them the bright, could you move over? They don't move. Even that.
No,
Oh my
no.
God.
Come on.
Katie,
Yeah.
what's been your biggest speaking goof?
My biggest speaking goof. Ooh, I think I'm gonna go back to what Darrin said. It's like you can't care what everybody's gonna say. Like you can get 99% of the people in the room and they love you and they stand up. You know this too, and you're gonna get a hater. You're always gonna have a hater. Somebody who they said she smiled too much or something, so that's something that I'm letting go of because I'm a teacher, I'm a people pleaser. I want them to like me, but I'm gonna let go of that because I'm not gonna be for everybody, but I am gonna help the people who are in there and who I can love. I also almost fell once. I almost fell. Like I was telling a story, got my foot hooked up on one of the chairs, almost fell. Like it was bad, and like even a guy like stood up like he was gonna catch me, but I was able to like be athletic enough to like catch it. And it was probably in front of like 200 people, and I was like, listen, if I was lesser of an athlete, I would have actually fallen. And then I just kept going. It was good.
Darrin, at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I am fill in the blank.
Looking for a lost golf ball.
Oh, you're a golfer.
I am a golfer. I'm a terrible golfer, but I'm a golfer. And yeah, probably looking for a lost golf ball somewhere around the 7th or 8th hole. That sounds about like what I'll be doing.
But you enjoy it.
I do. I love it. That's one of my ways to just disconnect.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm not one who's like, hey, I'm going to get a group of guys together and we're going to go and we're going to have the brandy in our containers. And I go, and I'll go at like 6 a.m. and
Nice.
my cup of coffee. It's just me. There's very few people on the course. I'm going to get my steps. I'm going to center my mind. I'm going to just let go. And I'm going to do something that reminds me how little control I have over the things in my life. Because, man, you put that little white ball on the tee. If you play the game like me, you don't have a whole lot of control. And so yeah, odds are pretty good. I'm searching for a golf ball somewhere.
Katie, one thing you're curious about.
I didn't get this far in your questions. I think I stay curious about people and their stories and how stories matter. And we're on walks, my husband and I, and he makes me stay healthy. And I'm like walking by houses and I'm like, don't you wonder what's going on in that house? What is the story of the people in that house? He's looking at me like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. I think you should be more curious and not nosy. Right?
I love it, Katie. You're a burst of energy. All right, let's have a quote from the both of you to end the show. Darrin, we'll start with you. Give me a quote that moves your soul.
Ooh, man, wasn't ready for that one. Oh, okay, I got it. And this might even tie back to the, if you think you want to write a book or you think you want to do the work that Katie does, that I do, that Andrew does. One of my all-time favorite quotes, and it's something I remind myself all the time. The gentleman's name is Rory Vaden. And Rory Vaden once said, "We are uniquely positioned to help the person we once were." So when we think about supporting others, when we think about helping others, people ask me all the time, how do I get started in the work that you do? Think about a time when you struggled. I was a struggling high school principal when I first became a principal. The people I help most right now are the people who were me. Nonstop firefighter, can't get out of their own way, because I used to be that guy. So that one's mine. We are uniquely positioned to help the person we once were.
Excellent.
That's good.
Excellent. Katie, how about a quote for you?
I'm going to have to go with Maya Angelou, which is when you know better, you do better. And I think that's what we're out here to do, is to do better for kids and do what's relentlessly right for them. And I really love that, Darrin. So turn around and help her too, because it wasn't long ago that she was you. So I think we started our conversation, Andrew, today off air, that I'm going to help anybody who needs it. I will be there for them and help them get started.
And Katie shared with me the statistics of public speakers out there is 70% men, 30 women. And Katie is someone who's going to support women speakers and help, support that. So definitely connect. And Darrin and myself, if we can help you and get that first speaking gig at a conference, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. So, friends, this is Katie Kinder and Dr. Darrin Peppard. Their book is awesome. Check it out. Culture First Classrooms. A lot of cool excerpts, a lot of cool stories. And Darrin, like you said, the last thing, action steps, right? There's a reflective piece, but then there's action steps to put it in place in your own school, in your own classroom. So thank you very much, friends. This was
Andrew,
fantastic.
thanks for having us. We heart you.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. This is awesome, man. Love it.
Well, safe travels to both of you, and continue to inspire and continue to survive and thrive. The both of you stay on the line. We are going to sign off here on the podcast. Darrin Peppard, Katie Kinder, check them out. Both of their websites, Road to Awesome, and then it's katiekinder.com. Katie,
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. The teal glass lady.
Yeah.
And Darrin, that came from you just on a whim?
Well, so I believe so much in that personal branding piece, right? I mean, I'm the Road to Awesome guy. People don't always remember my name, but they're like, Road to Awesome.
The Road to Awesome.
Yeah, what sticks, right? And man, that's how I remembered Katie. So I just told her, lean in, just lean into that, right? And who has she ever? I love it.
600 copies. Yeah, awesome. All right, friends, great to see you. Stay on the line. See you, friends. Keep rolling.